Hey people. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever been let on, lied to, or just outright ghosted? Oddity is a game that needs no introduction. Unfortunately, it's getting one, because I'm sure most people watching this video were probably still in diapers when the game started development in 2008. Oddity is less of a game, more like a 20-year-old psyop to make people think there's a game. We'll get into that. It originally started out as Mother 4, a fan-made sequel to Mother 3, and stayed in that form for about 12 years until 2020, where it rebranded as a totally original game project. This was announced with a beautiful trailer, showing off new features and, kind of more of the game's story. Unfortunately, since then, in the past 6 years, we've gotten nothing. Absolute radio silence. Now, I want to be clear, I don't have a problem with the game not being released yet. Developers have clearly stated it'll be out when it's out, it'll be out when it's ready. My critiques with the game lie in how it's been managed. It's kind of like Israel and the red heifer cows, where they keep teasing that something's really gonna happen this year, and then nothing happens. Except the cows have more fucking consistency. And no, I'm not bitter at all. Why do you ask? Anyways, I don't really have anything particularly new to say about Oddity itself. You can watch these videos on screen that cover its development history much better than I can. Some of them I know aren't totally accurate, but to be fair to them, trying to compile an accurate history of this game's development is like trying to decipher Mayan hieroglyphics without a Siamese cat. We have actually gotten 3 different leaks from developers. Maybe ex-developers? Current developers? We don't know, and I'll get into that later. We got a leak in 2019 containing art assets and story info, one in 2022 containing the engine and game from the Mother 4 era, and one in 2026 from the Oddity era containing a prototype of the game. I mean, in lieu of a game or finished product, I guess it's alright. Who needs to finish a game when you just ritualistically leaked on 4chan every few years? The leaks we'll be discussing now had playable prototypes, so the game does exist. The 2022 leak of the Mother 4 era had an entire custom engine and game. That game had working maps and battles. The game and engine were dated 2015, well into the Mother 4 era. The 2026 leak had a build of the game made in Game Maker from March 2023, which was less feature complete than the game and engine from 2015, if you can believe it. All of these leaks, including the 2019 one, which isn't really relevant, it'll be relevant later, but it's not relevant now. All of these leaks were unceremoniously pissed out onto /V, 4chan's video game board, and undeniably the worst board on 4chan. None of these leaks were particularly inspiring or hopeful, given that both of them were incredibly incomplete on what they had shown in the engine and in the game in general. Even the 2019 leak had shown that they were much further behind than they had, led people to believe. Before we go any further, I want to give a bit of context on the 2015 engine and build. First off, that custom engine was developed exclusively for Mother 4 by a team member named Dave, who was the main programmer for Mother 4 for a while at least. This engine had a bit of drama surrounding it, or rather, what had happened to the engine when new director, Pastel, had taken control of the project. And now onto the 2026 leak. In that leak we were shown a 2023 March build of the game, which was made in Game Maker, which confirms that they had thrown out the custom engine. It's really funny what the leaks have in common with each other. The 2022 leak and the 2026 leak are both wildly incomplete and inaccurate compared to the trailers released in their respective era. The current director, creator, and sole programmer, Pastel, he used to be a regular in Oddity fan Discord, dropping story hints and lore, and hype moments in aura before he blew his shit schmoove off by deleting his Discord account. Thankfully, before deleting his account, he revealed in painstaking detail what Christian denomination each character belongs to in his video game. You might ask, why did he delete his account? Well, interestingly, when I mentioned the custom engine, I said that we don't really know what happened to it. We actually had to figure that out. He never actually said that they had transitioned to using Game Maker as the engine. It wasn't mentioned in the 2020 trailer, nor did he ever talk about it. The only way people figured that out is when someone noticed that in a GIF Pastel had posted, it was using the Game Maker font. And in response, as you do totally normally, he stopped talking about the game completely for a few months, and then decided to delete his Discord account. Whenever a developer was asked about why he deleted his Discord account, they said, "Yeah, he's taking a break from social media for the sake of his health. I appreciate the concern." Hey, I'm not judging here, but every interaction I can find is people it's kind of sucking his dick and, talking about his game. I can't really find a single example of harassment. That same developer also, in response to people asking questions about the leaks, said, "I'm disappointed in you guys. I get the wait is hard, but this is playing into a continued and unhealthy obsession. This is harassment of someone who isn't involved anymore, and this needs to stop. Those assets are more outdated than they lead on. They sprinkled newer stuff we posted on the server to make it seem more recent. Oddity has moved on from all of those old assets." Again, I can't really find a clear-cut example of harassment. All I see from kind of that discussion about the leaks in the Oddity Discord server is just, man, what the fuck is going on with those leaks? But hey, listen, it's pressure. I get Pastel maybe couldn't take the pressure and had to log off for his own mental health. That's fine. But I wish that was all I had to say about Pastel. But I mean, you can see the length of the video. You know something's coming. The other shoe's gonna drop. And the wording from the developer in that post is quite interesting. They sprinkled newer stuff we posted on the server to make it seem more recent. Oddity has moved on from all those old assets. So you're telling me they didn't leak anything new? You told me that all they leaked were old ass assets? Were there no new assets to leak? Man, if the fucking leakers can't even leak real new shit, shit's fucked. The past 6 years have been horrifically depressing if you're an Oddity fan. 4 different ETS developers, actually 3 ETS developers, 1 current developer, have spoken about their experience developing the project across the Mother 4 era and Oddity era. Shane Mesa, who was a composer, Doc Shadi, who was a sprite artist, Shrinefox, another sprite artist, and Matsis, the current art director. And I want to be honest and transparent, most everything here, except from the quotes from Matsis, is hearsay. Despite that, across all 4 developer accounts, there are running themes of mismanagement, miscommunication, and mistreatment of developers. Now, we're going to start off with Shrinefox. We'll just call him Ryan for short, because their actual username used to be Ryan Shrinefox until they just shortened it to Shrinefox. They were a pixel artist who dropped off the project mid-2020 during its rebrand. The reason we're starting out with Ryan and not anyone else, especially the current developer, is because of me. I got to ask Ryan some questions about what it was like working on Oddity team. Interestingly, the picture painted here is very vivid and lived in, and very bleak, but a little lively. We were able to discuss what was it like to work for Pastel. It was kind of a cycle. Sometimes we'd go weeks or even months with very little meaningful activity in the server. Then there would be a big push to have weekly meetings and meet some kind of goal, like completing an area or a cutscene meant for an upcoming trailer. Then it'd go back to being sorta dead. The first few times it happened, I wrote off as, well, life is busy and these things happen. But I ended up getting sorta antsy and contacting Pastel for stuff to do. He'd apologize and promise to give me some stuff, and never would. So yeah, most of the time I ever saw anything get done in the server was for meeting the trailer goals. And it seems like everything else got done in DMs with people he trusted the most. What was the rebrand like? Even among the team, the reactions were kind of split. We weren't really brought into the decision, it was kind of just dropped on us all one day. Like, trust me, this is the best thing for the game. And it's like, okay man, I guess so, but damn. And we're gonna get into some of the responses now. It's just kind of sad that what became of it was isolating the project from the group even more. I agree. I felt very blindsided by it, and it seemed like Dave did too, because apparently the trailer was promised to be revealed at the end of the year in a Reddit post or something. And they didn't start working on it until like the last week of the year, so they must have done it in GameMaker, so Pastel could prototype it faster. I still have no idea why it wasn't prioritized sooner. And now, statement directly from Ryan. From my perspective, I think everyone there was excited and motivated by the idea of releasing a full actual game, but the workload in front of us was like, we have a few artists and a ton of maps to make, and we can't make anything without the direction of Pastel because it's all his idea. And then the last statement, I really wonder who would want to leak it if that trailer was meant to come out this year. I could see Pastel doing it as an undercover thing. And then Ryan's response, in my experience, he only really liked the leaked things to prove his identity on 4chan when countering other leaks. It was a way to damage control. Now, apart from all of this, I don't really have anything to comment on. I mean, the clear themes are being established here. The rebrand was done on a whim, there was virtually no scheduling or prioritization, and the only work that got done was for trailers. That part about Pastel leaking assets on 4chan to prove his identity is true, and what Ryan said is actually mostly correct. Actually, completely correct. As far as I know, he only did that once back in the 2019 leak when a bunch of art assets and story information were leaked on the /v, leaked in much the same manner as the prototypes. Pastel did own up to it, so I don't really have anything to criticize. I'm going to be fair to him. The next developer account we're going to cover is Shane Mesa. If you're unfamiliar, Shane Mesa is an extremely talented composer who created the Mother 4 soundtrack. And technically there are two Mother 4 soundtracks, one from Shane and another from Danny Person, but if a song from Mother 4 comes to mind, it's Shane's. We're going to quickly read through his comments and take away what we can. And by the way, these comments aren't really his direct words, they're more sourced from a Reddit post that were notes of his comments, just to be transparent. Dave is confirmed to have been the only programmer and to have quit. No idea who's currently doing the programming. Shane Mesa dubbed all the audio over the original Mother 4 trailer. Characters had no collisions in the Mother 4 trailer. Effects in the Mother 4 trailer were done in video editing software. Back in the day, they used to frequently throw away all their progress and start from scratch. In parentheses, this happened a lot. Chase, the original director, quit because of this. Zephy's, a different developer, took Chase's position when he left. Zephy's is now gone, and Pastel took the director role. Pastel is a perfectionist in a bad way. The level of perfectionism Pastel has is detrimental to the team. A composer would give songs to Pastel, and Pastel would straight up reject them or tell them to change the track heavily. This is a lot, and I'm not going to get caught up analyzing any of it. No analysis until we've looked at the full picture in all developer accounts. No crying until the end. Just for some kind of context, Zephy's and Chase are the old directors of Mother 4. We don't know much about them other than that they're gone. I believe Zephy's is still active on Twitter, you can find them there. The next account we're covering is Doc Shoddy. They are a pixel artist who formerly worked on Mother 4 during that transitional time frame where it came to be rebranded as Oddity. Their comments are slightly more pointed, but they also help give us better insight and paint a darker picture of development. So let's get into this. Mother 4 was promised to be free to avoid catching Nintendo's attention. They rebranded because they wanted to avoid a cease and desist. They kept the game free because they didn't want to break their original promise. Cool for the fans, not for the team. A lot of people got mad. I was a pixel artist for this game. I left after the trailer, before the rebrand. 99% sure progress halted because everyone volunteered to work on Mother 4. But the project manager wanted to keep the game free post-rebrand. They were working for no pay on a non-Mother indie. Also, here's a funny story. I'm the one that told them they accidentally captured the mouse cursor when recording the very first teaser. They didn't want to re-record because they gave themselves an imaginary deadline. Now, I'll be completely honest, I'm not sure how reliable these comments are. Much of this information could have already been speculated, especially the mouse cursor. You can actually see that in the Mother 4 trailer. However, it's still very good to have an account that specifies, in addition to Ryan's account, that it was not a group decision to rebrand Mother 4 into Oddity. It definitely seems like this project manager is Pastel, just going off of Ryan's account, because there's really no project manager that we know of, at least they've never said. So Pastel is probably director and project manager for the game. So you know how in every Mother game they have like the oddball party member, like a dog or a prince or something a bit odd? Matsis here is that oddball, because he's still on Oddity team. He's the current art director and an animator for Oddity. Interestingly, he's also very doom and gloom about the project, so we'll just kind of look at a tweet here. I was asked by a fan on an update on how things were going. This is all I have for now. I mean, you see the picture, so yeah, not much to say. And we'll get into another gem from him. I ask, how's the story, engine, etc., and met with silence for another week. You want to know something I find really funny? Mattis, much like a man held hostage during World War II, communicates in code. On Discord, he communicates by reacting with a thumbs up to random posts. He has a really good post he reacted with a thumbs up emoji to. I'll just read it out loud for you. Ryan and Dave both quit the team the other day because Pastel refuses to communicate with any of them. Literally since he forced them to put that trailer together, that's the last time he said anything to them about the game's progress. It was Dave's original idea to rebrand, and then Pastel stole his idea, scrapped his engine that he spent 10 fucking years of his life on, switched things over to GameMaker, and now he's leaving them all in the dark. He's so fucking awful, I feel so bad for Dave. And by the way, we know for sure that Ryan is Schrinefox. You know, like I said, Schrinefox's old handle was Ryan Schrinefox, so they're the same guy. And Mats just reacted with a thumbs up to this message. Wow, what does that mean? I don't know. I never know. Is he agreeing with the screenshot that says Pastel doesn't communicate? Is he agreeing with the screenshot saying Pastel stole Dave's idea to rebrand and then claimed it as his own? Is he agreeing with Pastel being fucking awful? I don't know. Who knows? Why is the art director thumbs up in a random post that could be slandering the director of his game? I don't know! And this is such a weird thing to do to me. This entire screenshot is a siege of accusations. True, false, I don't know. I'm hesitant to take anything away from something so hostile. The only thing I can say is that it's another account of Pastel doesn't communicate for the third fucking time, submerged in a sea of boiling hostility, and I bet that shit is fishing. But hey, at least they have some info about what happened to Dave. He left. You know what? I have to give Mats his credit, because at the very least, he's not coping or even pretending that the state of things are okay. He's honest at least, and I think in situations where you've been working on something for a really long time, it takes a lot of confidence and kind of, you know, balls to go, yeah, this is kind of fucked up. We don't really see that sober quality in any other current developer. We only see that in accounts from ex-developers and kind of hearsay we've seen around. Here's something interesting though. When the 2026 Game Maker leak dropped, it revealed the name of the team, or at least the company behind Oddity, called Limited Mechatronics Company. Upon Googling the name of the company, fans found a piece of merchandise, a patch with Limited Mechatronics Company on it. When Mattis was informed of this on the Oddity fan Discord, he went, "Hi, I have never seen this before. Not a joke or speculation bait. Oddity dev decided to see merchandise for the first time." Upon looking further, it seems to be using the moon I made for the new logo, which is a little shitty if true, if it's being sold. And unfortunately, we know it's being sold. No, you aren't. Since money was involved here, I can only say to all of you Site fans to please stop assuming the team are a monolith of thought or decisions. And this was said in response to, I thought I was supporting the Oddity dev team, but I was actually supporting the creature. From what I'm reading, I feel bad for many reasons with all this misinformation in this app alone, and can't help but feel that the attitude from this development may have creeped into the community as a whole. I'm sorry if that's the case, but good night. Trying to process that after 16 years, some tourist collaborator is making money off of my work. What the fuck? What, huh? How does the art director of the game not fucking know that there's merchandise of the game, or at least the company behind it, being sold? This is unimaginably bleak. Okay, just imagine for a second that you are Matsis. Work on a game for nearly 20 years of your life, for no pay, no fame, and basically nothing. And then some fucking guy swoops in, steals your design, and profits off of it. And in the end, I just kind of feel sad for Matsis. This has to be pretty hurtful for him. And he definitely deserves to see a cut of the profit made, or at least get an apology. And you know, I want to briefly talk about a different developer, Pick, otherwise known as Prism. He's an artist for the project. We don't know his exact role. We just assume he's probably a senior on the project. Prism and Matsis are both active Oddity developers. The day after Matsis had this pitiful scene in the Oddity server, Prism came to, let me check my notes, respond to random fucking Discord messages to talk about his Discord profile picture. I mean, man, buddy, your art director just discovered his shit was being sold without his permission for your fucking project. This is not the time to talk about like, where your fucking Discord profile picture is from. If I were you, I would have just held my tongue like I have been for the past 6 goddamn years. But this isn't really the end. Maybe they resolved this behind the scenes, which they didn't. And we're watching the left hand, Matsis, wipe his tears with tissue, and we're watching the right hand, Pick, Prism, whatever the fuck his name is, scratch his ass a day apart. And a really funny part is that while Pick was talking about Gomes in Japan and wherever the fuck, Matsis messaged that he was absolutely blindsided by merch in a different channel at the same time. And then, later, Pick comes in to drop a really delightful comment. Reach out to Job, the seller, privately, and you can get a cut. I asked. What do you mean, you asked, buddy? Why is this being discussed in the fucking fan Discord? What happened? Were you aware of this? Do you have direct line to the seller? I'm trying to give you the benefit of the doubt here, but what? And then it just gets better. Matt says, I'll just quote him, "Why does Buddy think money is the issue here? You instead owe me an apology for keeping yet another secret. You should also feel ashamed for lying to the fans in this Discord. This communication is not normal and never was." If you're wondering why this section keeps dragging on, it's because every time I go to start voicing this, the drama fucking keeps going. And I think, oh no, we're not done. Sorry. Prism actually just responded to Matches as I'm recording this. Prism, you took issue was the fact your design was being sold. Those are your words and you had a point. So I thought rectifying that would help. I don't think the term line here is appropriate. The logo is a small part of the patch, so it flew under my radar until you pointed it out. After you did, I realized the issue. I didn't take part in designing this patch, nor did I keep it from you. I'm still willing to apologize for this, since it's important. And the Matsus responded, "No shit, I took issue. You should too, if you had any real moral compass when it came to this production. You evidently being aware of this for years without you or anyone involved telling your teammates that's been working with you for 16 years is just another stab, like how you left David and others to hang out when the game maker was being built for the trailer. And you are lying to these patient fans, about the state of the project with no remorse. What is going through your head to keep this facade up? You and your brother just like watching people crumble because you would have been honest with fans. Pastel were Shane long ago before they spiraled." At a certain point, is it hearsay if it's coming out of the developer's mouth? Let's just read that little quote. Like how you left Dave and others to hang out when the game maker was being built for the trailer. I mean, I worked really hard to infer all of this, but he's just saying it out loud. We know that Pastel didn't tell anyone else about the game maker engine switch, only Pick, and that neither of them told anyone else. Not even the main program, Dave. And just that kind of the middle part of this. And you're lying to these patient fans about the state of the project with no remorse. What is going through your head to keep that facade up? You and your brother just like watching people crumble because you would have been honest with fans, Pastel, or Shane long ago before they spiraled. The only concrete thing we can take away from this is that the state of the project is dire if they're having fights in the fan Discord. And that, according to Matt's, Prism isn't honest. He's put up a very positive facade. And I'm not going to even touch the mention of Prism's brother. I just don't know what that means. I don't know if he works on the project. I'm just quoting them word for word for clarity and just to be comprehensive. I think with that we can no, it just keeps going. I'm sorry. From Prism, I'd be willing to talk this out to you if you would let me over the past few years. If you look at what I've actually said here, I've gone out of my way to avoid false impressions of the project. People here can attest that specifically not building false hope has been a constant theme of mine for years as we try to figure it out. My brother also has nothing to do with this. You misjudged his character years ago and have treated him unfairly ever since. Me, that's not my choice to make when my brother is innocent. My moral compass has always been trying to keep the peace. There's a lot I'd be willing to discuss with you. In the name of keeping peace, this will be my last message on here. But you can come to me anytime. You can curse me out even. But there's nothing that I'm not willing to address to you. And that's not the last message, by the way. That's not Prism's last message. Master's response to this with, "You said communication is going well, as this random merch nobody knew has been notified of is up for sale, in the middle of yet another leak. If those aren't signs of dysfunction or miscommunication, I don't know what is. Your efforts are in toxic positivity and bad faith for trying to cover up all the antics over the decade with fake posts of assurance and conveniently avoiding fair questions and concerns seen posted by fans in this very server. I haven't mistreated anyone, buddy, as I haven't talked directly to either you or him in years because of your unpleasant gossip and blindness. Any mistreatment or mistake you've been accusing me of doesn't compare to the disservice you've done to us and fans by enabling this treatment in production and PR. Well, we don't even need to guess the nature of dysfunction. I mean, man, I inferred this. I'd been working hard, but fucking man, Matsus can just come out and say it for me. Development's fucked. Great. I'm glad we don't have to guess. Development was filled with antics. And you would think, oh, this is a good stopping point. But no, it's not. Because the fight goes on even longer. And nothing they say to each other even adds beyond this. So I'm just going to put it on screen. You can pause the video. You can look over it. I'm just going to move on. Because even if they keep fighting, it's just not worth my time to kind of pick them apart and see what it even means. You know, reflecting on this in a sober manner, it feels like they need to form a support group for these developers. We can call it Oddity Anonymous. I'll run the little meetings. All 4 developer accounts, in addition to the leads, collaborate the same findings. The project is horribly mismanaged. The rebrand wasn't agreed upon. Not everyone was on board with it. Hell, it doesn't even seem like people knew that the rebrand was even coming. And the nature of the rebrand itself is kind of up in the air, given that, according to Matsus, or more specifically according to a post he thumbs up, it was Dave's idea that was stolen by Pastel. And on the topic of mismanagement, the development of the game has been restarted multiple times for unknown reasons. You can just kind of deduce this from the 2023 March Game Maker leak. And every account tells the same fucking story in some capacity. It's like a tape repeating itself, except it keeps getting longer and it keeps getting worse. Let's listen. Shrine Thoughts. Yeah, we just decided to rebrand, but it wasn't really our decision. It just happened on a whim. Oh, and we only really worked on trailers, and Pastel didn't really give me anything to work on. Shane? Oh yeah, Pastel just kept scrapping shit over and over. Doc Shoddy? Yeah, they rebranded to the original game and expected people to work for free, so they left. And the whole Matt, everything we've covered about him? Yeah, so this guy used the art director's art without permission, and then the art director only found out in the fan Discord. And then the art director and some other developer had a fight in the general chat, and then they started talking about some developer's brother for some reason. None of this is logical. None of this made sense. And I kind of neglected this. I'm just going to kind of clue you in. All the developers have, in some capacity, defended Pastel. Actually, only 2 of them have. Ryan and Pick, or Prism. 2 of them have kind of defended this guy, and it's really interesting. And the defense is always the same. So, oh, Pastel's a really cool guy. Let's just read out what Pick says. Bro really does have a very specific flavor to his writing that has its own charm. It's one of the reasons that I believe in the project. And then from Ryan, same. I really liked his ideas, and he fostered a cool, collaborative atmosphere during the periods where we were all actually around the work together. Lol. Okay, imagine this. You're a wage slave in the wage cage. Your manager only comes on Mondays, sometimes, maybe? Okay. That's fine, at least he doesn't get in your way. Except, on every project you work on, or maybe just the one, everything you do needs his explicit approval. And if he comes in, God forbid, on a Monday, and your work isn't perfect, he'll just scrap it and tell you to restart. Okay. So you have that image. Now imagine that when he's in the office, he's a really cool guy. Like, he's got really cool ideas, and he's got a really good writer, and did I mention his ideas? He's got really good ideas. Oh, and he doesn't have a team group chat for people to kind of, coordinate. When you get up to go get coffee, he'll just pull you aside like he's about to molest you and tell you about his really cool ideas. Also, like I said, you really can't do anything without his direct supervision. And again, he only delivers that to you when he pulls you aside at the coffee machine. Is it obvious? Is it painfully fucking obvious how draining and bullshit it'd be to work with a guy like this? It doesn't matter how talented or charming or nice he is. He's constantly fucking you over repeatedly. Oh, he's such a good writer. Then he should go write a fucking book instead of mismanaging a project for years. I've been really careful not to slander or defame the guy. Really, I don't know Pastel. I've never spoken to the guy. But seeing everything that surrounds him, damn, fucking damn. Maybe he's a great guy who I invite to my angelic smoke circle. Maybe he had really good ideas on how to hit that shit. So what? The game's never coming out. It's in a constant cycle of reset and development. The art director is mistreated by other developers. His art is used without his permission. The team can't even coordinate. The trailers are heavily altered and not representative of any actual gameplay. The developers only rear their heads every few years when the project leads to, work damage control. The project doesn't even have a clear vision. The director is fucking weird. Yeah. Oh, that's true. At least most of it. After editing most of the video, I've come to the realization I don't want to end the video on such a downtrodden note. If there's one thing I want people to take away from the video, just be honest with yourself and know when it's time to move on. Know when, it's done. I don't just mean Oddity, but anything else in general. I don't want to get too emotional, but I'm sure you can think of a few things where you just have to go, it's time to move on. This is my first time making like a video essay like this, and I want to be honest here, I don't think it's very good. I think it's fun to watch in some parts, it has a lot of zoomer editing, but I hope people watch this video and they understand why I made it. It's not to defame the Oddity developers. I just want people to look at this collected evidence and go, it's time to move on. I don't mean, in a bad way, just realize it's time. I really appreciate if you've made it all the way to the end. It means a lot to me. I probably won't be doing something like this in the future, but if I do, I hope you'll stick around for it. Thank you.
I wake up and I'm ass naked.